KYSR Los Angeles.
Proud parents to Woody, Gina, Greg, and Menace.
What up? It's the Woody Show.
And the best alt tunes daily.
Every morning.
We're Alt 98.7.
LA's new alternative.
Portions of this program will be recorded.
It's just a battle, just dumb.
Now, nice. Back to the Woody Show.
Into another new hour. Insensitivity training for a politically correct world. It's a pre-Friday. It's a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
It's January the 16th, 2025. Welcome to it. Welcome to the Woody Show. I'm Woody. That's Greg Goring.
Good morning, Woody.
Menace, good morning to you.
Good morning, Woody.
Gina Grad.
Good morning, Woody.
Who's got something for us here in just a second. We got Sammy.
Morning.
We got Seabass. Phones are open. 877-44-WOODY. Send us a text. You can text us over to 22987. Of course, find us on social media at The Woody Show.
Do it.
So I know it's not a new show by any stretch of the imagination, but I got back into watching the first 48.
I love
yeah.
that show.
I know you like all that crime
I
stuff,
love it.
Gina.
If we're at a hotel, that's always on. I get so excited.
Totally. That's hotel viewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're going through the channels and it's on, it's so captivating.
Yeah, you'll stop on it.
Like, Greg, you might find this surprising, because typically my background noise shows, like if I'm like kind of just lounging and chilling, kind of fading in and out of a nap, or
Right.
HGTV, like
Yep.
House Hunters or Love It or Listed, something like that.
Soothing.
But
Yeah, relaxing.
I've had the first 48 just going.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Hulu, and I'm just watching like episode after episode, and I'm watching these things, and I'm thinking, man, because every time they show anything about jail.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, these guys, and they're young dudes, sometimes like really young, like early 20s, and you're like, you're going to jail for
Right, for
decades.
Your whole life.
This is your
You're
life
done.
now.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, and I've said this a number of times before, and people call me a little bitch or pussy or whatever, and I'm fine with that, because they said, well, hey, what if it was like a really good friend, and you needed to do whatever, like you needed to lie or what to get them, or would you help them?
Bye-bye, good friend.
Whatever it is, hide evidence, or
Right.
would you help them cover up for, like,
Yeah.
no,
No, that
Or
person,
be their alibi.
no,
No.
that person becomes former friend.
Right.
I certainly would not. Like, I'm not going to jail for something I didn't do for anybody.
What if it's your kid?
No. I tell you, I would be the parent that would turn them in.
Nice.
Not for like something really small and stupid,
Yeah,
but like
but
if it was a
a
serious thing.
murder.
You see those things like where it just happened recently where there was some guy and he rolled some old lady, and there was like surveillance video from one of the businesses had like a street cam or whatever. And the mom's like, that's my son.
Yeah.
She called the police. She turned him in.
I respect
Yeah.
that.
Good.
And it's weird because there's the exact opposite a lot these days too, where the parents go hard, even though they know their kids are guilty
Yeah.
of like heinous crimes.
Yeah.
Their parents like back them up and are like, how and why are you doing that?
We'll never
right.
keep fighting to get him out. I'm like, he did it.
So
He's guilty.
in one of those boarding schools that I was at, the one in Alabama, they took us to a prison.
oh,
Sweet.
And
God,
this
I'm
prison
so
in Alabama
jealous.
that we took a tour, not a tour, it was like a scared straight kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this prison that they took us to they were still doing chain gangs.
Oh,
So as we're
my.
pulling up and going down the big long road to this prison building in the middle of like some big open field somewhere, like something out of a movie, there's guys on the side like doing the landscape stuff, and they're all chained together.
That's
They
so
never
old timey.
finished.
How did
Master got me working.
how did the landscaping look? Was it?
I mean, they're just
Gorgeous.
basically just keeping the weeds down.
Yeah.
You know?
Do they care about the aesthetics?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It
Were they
wasn't
doing
properly.
topiary?
Yeah, it wasn't. There no sling
How did
blades.
the
It wasn't.
rocks look?
It wasn't. They're breaking them. It's kind of. But anyway, so we're in there, and it's like this is. It is. It's awful.
Yeah.
And so these people are like, I ain't afraid of jail. Yeah, but why would you want to go to jail?
No.
What is worth going to jail over? I'm not talking about Sammy got arrested, for being drunk, but you didn't like go to jail.
I didn't go to jail. I went to the drunk tank. Very
Okay,
different.
different.
Hilarious.
They were like, "Hey, sober up,
Yeah.
little girl."
So that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
You're
about people who
getting
go.
convicted.
Yeah,
It
you
would
go to the
still
county
suck.
jail. You go to like a federal prison.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing it. Menace, what if a friend of yours, did something you knew about it? Like, and I'm trying to think of like a crime that we can use as an example.
All right.
But like you knew, would you turn him in?
No. It depends.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
It
On the
depends.
severity.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
where it's on
Like-
TV, where the
Yeah.
news said they're looking for suspects.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
And
like
you know-
if my friend, like, I don't know,
Killed somebody,
killed somebody I didn't know.
put somebody in a coma.
Yeah, didn't know. Then
Let's say your friend.
I'm not calling and giving up the information. I'm not helping them hide either.
like you're not staying in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
if they killed their family, like, hey, I'm gonna drive with the police to go pick them up.
Okay, so let's say I figured out an example. Let's say you hear these stories from time to time, like there's a fight in the parking lot after a sporting event.
Oh, all the time.
And someone's now in the hospital. They're looking for the person who's involved. You
Yep.
know it was your buddy.
Oh boy.
Are you turning him in?
Uh,
And you can text over yes or no over to 22987.
Question. You know what? There's always the anonymous tip line.
Yeah.
So would you do it?
Maybe, if depending on the
record?
severity of how injured the other person was. If
Yeah.
it was something that was on the news, you could just claim that you never saw the news. Just
yeah,
didn't see it.
like here's the thing. I'll be completely honest. I am not turning them in, but I am also. They're not going to be at my house hiding from
No.
the cops.
Exactly.
You know,
No.
Exactly.
But if they ever called or
it's
like
on you.
contacted me in any way to let me know what they did, I would turn them in because I would be so paranoid that somehow
Yeah.
it would get tracked back to me and
Right.
I didn't say
Totally.
something.
I hate keeping secrets.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well,
Oh.
you just screwed up.
and I'd be
Right.
pissed that they told me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I didn't want to know that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
Me too.
Don't burden
No.
me with your
I'd be
stuff.
like, all right, here's the deal. You got 5 days
Yeah.
before I call the cops.
There you
Give
go.
you a head start.
You know,
Call the friend before the cops and tell them that they have a deadline.
Yeah.
323 says Woody will turn his kid in, but would pardon his kid if he were Hunter Biden, like or in that situation. Yes.
yeah.
And here, but I'm not saying I understood why he got pardoned
Right.
because it's his dad and that's his son. Like, I understand it. I don't know how I'd react. It depends on what the
Yeah.
crime was.
If you were allowed to,
And-
just
Yeah.
go, boop, you're
And
pardoned.
pardoning or not pardoning doesn't send me to prison,
Right.
which is
That's
what
the
we're
point.
talking about here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go to prison.
Yeah,
I'm not
we-
interested in going to
We
prison.
said if we had the power, all the homies are getting out of jail. You know, we're
Yeah. Yeah, all the homies. You know,
all the homies, like all my friends, you're
Yeah,
in
dude.
jail.
But what do
And
you?
I have the power, you're out.
Yeah.
Unless you did
how many
something
homies do you have
completely-
in jail?
completely heinous.
How many homies do you have in jail?
Currently, none.
None. Good.
I've had
That's how we
some.
keep it. Yeah. And by the way, I don't want those homies anymore.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
aren't your
Yeah.
homies.
No longer my homies.
Yeah, call me old and boring. I don't care.
Yeah. Somebody said, hell yeah, I'd turn them in if there was a reward.
Oh.
Like if money's involved. We've had a couple people hit us up.
Yeah.
Like if there was a reward, they're turning them in.
Yeah.
Would you watch that show Your Honor with Brian the
Yes,
Ruler Cranston?
Cranston, yes.
Would you go to those great lengths to
No.
protect your kid?
Hell no. That's a
No
great
way.
show. Did you
It
ever
is.
watch that?
Yeah, it is.
God, that's good.
I'm so bummed out that it's done. It was always supposed to be a limited series.
Yeah, that was
like
fantastic.
a very short.
And that's along the lines of what we're talking about.
2
Protecting
seasons, that's it.
somebody that you know committed a crime
Yeah.
and the lengths
Yeah,
you went to.
I'm just not covering up for anybody.
Yeah, that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Snitch is just one of those words. I'm like, that you're not gonna irritate me or get under my skin by saying, oh, snitch. Like it's not
Yeah, call
Right.
me whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're going to call it to
Like
be
how-
outside of prison.
like how Marty McFly
Right.
would react to he got
Chicken.
called a chicken. Like, would you call me chicken? Like, yeah,
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
You can call me whatever you want. Narc.
When you're talking about
Snitch.
prison and jail, my smallest concern is if I'm cool or not. If
Yeah.
I'm a snitch.
You're right. Yeah,
Sticks
yeah.
and stones will break my
Yeah.
bones. Your names will never hurt me.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, some people don't care about going to jail. In fact, there's this one guy that Gina's got
Yeah.
that she's going to introduce us
Loved it.
to here. That he likes being in jail. He prefers it.
Yeah.
weird.
He had a much better life.
Yeah.
So this guy's name is, I think it's Tokeo, and this clip has gone completely viral on TikTok. He was interviewed by this guy, Matt Cullen, and he said his stint in prison was pretty much the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
All right.
No. Unless it was like this great place where everybody's nice to each other.
Well,
you have
he
a
has-
lot of free time. You're allowed to sleep whenever you want.
He
do
has
whatever you
his
want.
reasons, and they will become very clear.
Prison was so much fun that I ended up doing a whole 3 years. Don't quote me on it being fun because I'm supposed to never ever say it. My mom actually told me never ever say it. Now I'm saying it.
He sounds like he'd be the kind of guy who'd have a lot of fun in prison. I'm
You know what I'm
judging
saying?
the
He
book
sounds
by.
popular.
You're onto something,
Okay,
you
okay.
guys.
All right. Yeah, I'm judging the book by the cover here as the first time hearing the audio.
Being fun because I'm supposed to never ever say it. My mom actually told me never ever say it. Now I'm saying it in the interview. I was fing on the hottest and the most powerful in there. So yeah, they were bringing in like weed, cell phones, all that and I would get a piece because my throw game is silly. So I'll give a nigga this neck, bitch, and he would give me his left organ. Like, it was silly. So no, I never went without.
Because his throat game is silly.
It's crazy.
So he never went without. He had everything he needed. He had access to the hottest guys.
Weed.
He had all the weed, all the phones. I mean, it was perfect. He was like
he's
royalty.
protected.
Exactly.
Yeah, no one's gonna let their wife get beat up like that.
Thank you.
It's just one
They're prison
giant
bitch.
bar.
And he said, like, on the outside, when you see a super hot guy, you might not have access to him. But when you're the only choice, he was having a blast.
Now, Greg, isn't that one of those things that bothers you when people say, "Oh, you'd like going to prison"?
Yes, that does bother me.
Is that because one of those like just kind of generic?
Just because it's the sex aspect of it. That's so annoying. I wouldn't last 3 minutes in prison.
I mean, you
wouldn't
would. I
last
don't know how your throat
1
game
minute.
is.
Yeah,
How's
you
your
don't know.
throat game?
Is it silly?
Yeah, is it silly?
What about one of those like what the federal prisons are supposed to be better, right? Like which ones are the
What?
ones where it's like a country club
Where they
almost?
play tennis and all
Those
that.
are the white collar prisons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the where Martha Stewart went
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Lori Loughlin.
And then you have what's called the honor farm, which is essentially like a
Yeah,
very
no gates.
minimum
Yeah.
security prison. I worked at a pizza parlor, and this dude was living at the honor farm. It was basically prison. So if he was going to be late for his shift, the manager had to call the quote prison and say, "Oh, he's going to be 10 minutes late."
It's like free range prisoners.
Yeah.
It's like free range
Wow.
prison.
This is amazing.
And then when you get off work, you go back.
Mommy,
Dude,
where did Daddy go? Daddy went to the farm. He's
He's
living
at
at
a farm. Yeah,
I
he's
have a
Like you
living.
say about a
He's running
dog
free.
that died.
Yeah.
I have a radio friend who had to live in Tent City in
Oh,
Arizona.
in Arizona,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was able to go to work, do her shift, and then have to go
Wow.
back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I went to a prison in the Cook Islands.
As an inmate?
Well, I wanted to. It was a girls' trip, and everybody got to pick something they really wanted to do. And I said, "Can we please go to the prison?" So we went to the prison, and it was empty. And I asked the guard, I go, "Where is everyone?" He goes, "Oh, they go home for lunch."
What?
But then they come back and sleep here. I was like, sweet. They make ukuleles for the tourists. They go home for lunch.
Wow.
This place was awesome.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was awesome.
yeah, I'm sure they loved it.
They went home for lunch.
Tex says you got to watch Mr. Brooks with Kevin Costner. It shows you how far he would go to cover for his kid.
Mr. Brooks.
2007 film. I haven't seen it.
Right.
Somebody said
that
they would turn somebody in if somebody lost their life,
Yeah.
like in that situation. I would also say any kind of pedophile stuff or
Oh, you
Yeah.
gotta go.
these other things where you go.
That's what I said.
Any
Yeah,
of those other stuff that we say,
extreme.
those people go right to the island.
Yeah,
Whatever
you're
that crime would be. Yeah, absolutely.
I would drive the police car. You
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Yeah. 877-44-WOODY. You can send us your text over to 22987. Here's another question for you. What's something that you went into it and you thought, man, this is going to suck, and it turned out to be not that bad, like this dude.
This dude with prison.
Thanks to his, silly throat game. Like it turned out in prison wasn't that bad.
Not
Jail
bad
wasn't
at
that
all.
bad. But like what's something you went into, and I'll just tell you right, one of my examples would be I had nightmares before I went and had my vasectomy. Like I was ready to do it and I wasn't going to puss out. And I did it. But I thought that was going to suck. And it was
Were you-
so easy.
Were you most afraid of the surgery or the afterwards?
It's the idea of it, the area that they're working in. I didn't know what to expect. You've heard horror stories about, dude's nuts swelled up the size of Papa Shot basketballs and all these things. And I'm like, oh my God. And you know what? It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So what's something that you went into maybe with some stinking thinking, and then the other end of it, you're like, yeah, wasn't that bad. Like if Greg had gone to Wicked and came out the other side going, you know what?
I love
That was
it.
really good.
But it was that bad.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't work out
Yeah.
that way. But
Right.
what is it for you? Call in, text in. We'll get into that. It wasn't that bad. Coming up next on The Woody Show.
Fellow comrades in mediocrity, I want you to listen very carefully. You can all go straight to hell.